Agri-Food Business Day was a two-day appointment between government officials on the one hand, so trade negotiators, and the agri-food industry. Very large agri-food companies like the Nestlés and Unilevers of this world, but also grain trading associations from across the globe, agricultural banks, shipping companies, and the goal was to see what the trading system can do for those companies.
The food crisis remains very serious, and that it has not gone away. It is playing out against the backdrop of major global supply chain disruptions brought on by the COVID-19 pandemic and the war in the Black Sea region, interest rate hikes and a potential global recession, and the climate crisis. According to conservative estimates, international trade feeds 1 in every 6 people around the globe.
As we go forward, I hope that for us in Africa, the crisis that is happening is a wake-up call to think about how we can diversify into production systems that allow us to not just feed people, but also take advantage and stay within environmental limits. The opportunity for us to trade in food is there. But the biggest opportunity is what it offers when you look at the backward linkages to dealing with the challenge of poverty, to dealing with the challenge of environment, and to ensuring that we are being more inclusive.
What really stuck with me was the fact that there was unanimity, that there was demand for more WTO and not less WTO. Everybody, all companies, all grain trading associations, everyone wants a rules-based system that functions and that eases global supply chains.
Free trade when it comes to the import of the proper nutrients that we require to grow the crops that we need is really critical for us to meet the output. I think the supply chains are essential if we plan to meet, the upcoming global food security challenges, and we need a resilient system in order to do that.
We believe that global food security is best served when open markets allow crops to be raised in climates where they can be grown most efficiently, productively and sustainably, and then shipped to areas where they are needed, therefore reducing the need for land, fertilizers, energy and other natural resources such as water.
Global agriculture supply chain have created a big value for us through all the experience. First, I think it's really maximize the access to the different sources and allow more people to get benefits from global markets. And then it's because it brings flexibility and also the scale to fight weather events, restrictions, and also be able to help to spread new technology.
A lot of other themes were discussed, from sustainability to e-commerce, digitalization, trade facilitation. It's clear that businesses want the entirety of the WTO rulebook and of ongoing negotiations finalized and applied. The WTO has done quite a lot in response to the current crisis. At the 12th Ministerial Conference, where food security was placed right at the center of the agenda, and members adopted a number of decisions which essentially have allowed members to commit to ease global agricultural value chains, to not obstruct them with instruments like export restrictions.
The question of fertilizer has been quite a big issue. We had a double tragedy where, one, we had a shortage of fertilizer because of the trade restrictions. And secondly, even the little that was available was at double the normal prices.
Lack of fertilizer availability in some parts of the world, such as sub-Saharan Africa, is likely to lead to longer lasting crises because many of the world major producers are importers of fertilizers.
We should change the lens that we look at fertilizer. We need to understand that fertilizer is equal to food and nutrition security, and therefore when trade restrictions are being allowed or being imposed on fertilizer, just people need to know that literally by so doing you might as well be passing a death sentence to a fellow human being somewhere in the globe, and really that should be looked at from that context, that food security is very closely tied to availability and affordability of fertilizers.
I think the pandemic really highlighted this, in that if a supply chain gets broke, it doesn't matter if you can buy it cheaper than you can grow it. The matter of fact is, if you can't get it, people die. If we work together and have the proper types of free trade on both inputs and our export commodities, we can do a lot better job of getting the nutrition needed globally.
Contact between the World Trade Organization and the agri-food business sector is critical. This event was not a one-off event. We certainly want to build on it because it allows us to keep our hands on the pulse, so to speak, to know exactly what it is that's blocking in the real world. What are the measures that the businesses see that are obstructing trade? For us, agri-food business is a sounding board, and we want to keep that sounding board going forward.
We need multilateralism. We need a discussion on agriculture and food. It's important. It's again on the table also in WTO. It's on the table in different other bodies. But trade is essential.